So I'm going to introduce you to just sort of give you a walkthrough of how you access the course, give you maybe a few tips on a few things like that. So what you have to do is you just begin by logging in like you always would to this class. Just go on to Blackboard and then log in, and all your courses should show up somewhere like My Courses. You can click the Courses tab up here and you get it. And then there'll be a long list of courses, this previous semesters and stuff here for me. So the class that you're in is Intro to Philosophy, PHI 204. So you click on that. It'll come in and you will see, I think that should be the student view, sorry. You should see a bunch of information here. Like, you should see a welcome introduction thing. And if you click down, there's introductory videos, which you obviously found because you're here. And then you'll find the syllabus, which will have both a printable version as well as one you can just look at online. You'll also find, accessing Connect, which basically just says click on anything and it will connect you to it. Actually, this one may not work anymore. Yes. So if basically if you go in there and you click that, it will automatically take you to the Connect page. And when you get there, you can do it. You can it should just launch right into it. That's saying launch as a student because I'm your instructor, and it'll just come on into the page. Now, what you'll notice there are two things here I have set up. I have readings, and then I have these Learn Smart lessons. The readings are they are just the textbook. The Learn Smart, they're sort of set up differently. Some of you probably have used these, but if you haven't, this is kind of an introduction for that. If you come into the Learn Smart lessons, what they do is they have questions, and they give you kind of they'll have this textbook, and they'll have highlighted sections. They'll have separate sections, kind of not as easy to read, and they're kind of trying to draw you to ideas they think are really important. And then it will have a series of quiz questions, and if you miss a question, it'll give you a different one. And so it'll say that it might say there's 37 questions. But if you miss a question, it'll give you another question. It essentially means you have to get 37 questions right. You may have 87 questions asked, and you may have less. But it just sort of depends on how well you're doing. The other thing is if you're not doing well, it may say, hey, you're not doing well. Why don't you take a little time to read a little more? And it might direct you back to that. So it's sort of adaptive and trying to keep you doing that. The Learn Smart is required, and I do want you to do that. And so that's sort of a required part of each unit. It's going to be given for completion grade or whatever. It's going to be, did you do it? If you did it, you passed it successfully by the due date, then you're good. You get the credit. But you have to do it. With that said, if you don't do it, you don't get the credit. Now, why do I have the readings there? Well, the readings are there because I like doing it that way. But the other thing I wanted to point out, and this is one of the reasons I want to make this sort of walk around the course, is you'll notice there's a little audio thing up here. This is sort of for people who perhaps need a reader, and this will provide that reader. But the nice thing is, if you're going to be doing something, and maybe just sometimes I'm doing something around the house that's really not particularly taxing. Sometimes it's nice to hear the book read to you. It may be a little hard to follow at times, but especially because it's a computer reading, and so some of the cadence and some of the like the way it's read, it can be a little bit off. But I think it is a nice feature that you may enjoy having. So just sort of, if you want to click it, hopefully it'll start. And maybe it won't. Well, basically the point is you click that, here we go, and
Page 4 1.0 Overview of the Journey in a 19th Century Work. The Danish philosopher and literary genius Soren Kierkegaard depicted one of his fictional characters sitting in a cafe worrying about the fact that he has no mission or purpose in life. He despairs.
So that's basically what it does. You can speed up how quickly it reads it to you, do things like that. So if you want to, you're like, I want to read it a lot quicker.
Fact that many in his age have served humanity and have achieved fame and admiration by making life easier and easier.
I think that's probably a little too quick, but that's kind of the way that works. So I just kind of wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on that. Let's see. Oh, and then when you want to go back, you click back to Blackboard. It should put you right back into the course, and that's basically it. So you'll have computer requirements. What's next? Um, you can get your grade here. If you click this, it'll tell you my office hours, where my office is, how to call me, things like that. I would also add that, I'm usually in my office a lot more than just 10 to 11 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but that can kind of vary. So it's always best to email me if you're going to come in. Just let me know. I'm usually, it's just one of those things like sometimes I just step out or I have an errand, but if you say I need to come by, I'm usually there most of the time. There's sort of, help, Blackboard support, academic success, things like that. If you click the calendar, it should give all your courses, and you should be able to see all the due dates you have on all your courses. Now, for example, I teach several classes, and I'm not even sure what courses have those due dates, but these are all kind of in here. You see when those are due. And then last thing, the biggest thing though, is this course modules. And so if you click on that, that's where the bulk of your course material is at. And if you come in here like course introduction, which is what we're doing first, I give you a list of what you need to do. There's a short video with me talking about it. And then there's a discussion board. There's a quiz over the syllabus. There's this lesson on what is philosophy. You can click through. The videos are a little bit old, and I probably need to update that. And I think some of the videos in this class I need to update still. And then you come down, there should be the readings from the book, and then there will be a quiz. Actually, I don't have the quiz up here. The quiz will be over the book and what we did, and that'll be in there. And each module is sort of like that. So if you come in here, that's the reading I just clicked on. This is the Learn Smart. And the Learn Smart, as soon as you complete it, it will update my grade book, and I'll be able to see how well or if you completed it. So if you come here and I click preview, and it will open up. And then what you'll see is it also has the textbook. Oh, so I already did this. But if you come in here, it'll, what's it say? It'll ask you questions. Who was the first person to call himself a philosopher? And I believe the answer is Pythagoras. And there you go. And according to Søren Kierkegaard, philosophy is the search for self-understanding. There you go. So that's the way that is. I had to move my screen a little bit in case you're wondering why I was doing that, because I have a crack in my screen. I can't read part of it. So anyway, so that's basically the way that works. And then what happens is you should also be able to go to the reading in the book if you come to these and you decide, I want to read a little bit, it'll also do that as well. So, where was my Blackboard? Let me just see if I can find that real quick, and then we'll call it a day. And that's sort of your walkthrough. If you have any questions, send me an email or call me, and we'll see if we can figure it out. So if you come down here, in this case, what I did was I put all the lessons, because there's several of them, into a folder, and some weeks it'll be like that. And you have to go through those. They're kind of lessons I made. And then the readings and the Learn Smart. So there's part A and part B, and The reason is I have these broken up as far as what you need to do, and so preview. And it should let you, if you come back in here, it should let you see what everything is. But if you come into here, preview, I'm hoping to be able to show you this. Oh, here it is. So when you do it that way, it will give you the textbook. But as you see, like some of this is hard to read, and the reason why is they're saying, you're reading a list of questions is probably not as important as maybe, for example, other parts of the material. And so what it does is it kind of highlights like this. It thinks is more important, and so it highlights this. I don't know that I would say that's the case. I would say that these parts definitely, there are certain parts of this that probably are less likely to be questioned, but they're not necessarily unimportant. And they give a lot of this kind of this grayed out, and I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of that, but it does sort of also guide you to where they're going to ask questions. I would recommend you go ahead and use the readings as I gave them to you, but that's about all I would say about that. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, but just continue along with these videos, and we'll wish you luck. And as soon as I can figure out how to stop this.